I think when we went on this journey, we thought there was going to be a lot of the same in all these different communities we visited. And it's just amazing how unique and diverse every single community is that we visited. The African American mosques that we visited in Philadelphia are very different than the African American mosque that we visited in Washington, D.C. It's just amazing that there's so much variety in every different community. We also noticed that people have ways of adapting Islam to their specific community. There was one in particular in Maine. To get halal meat, the Muslims sacrifice meat, they drive 4 hours all the way down to Boston because there's only like 10 Muslims in town, so they drive 4 hours to get their meat.
Bassem, did you find that there was a peculiarly American style of Islam? That you talk about how it adapts. Could you broaden that out to the whole country and say that yes, this is Islam, but it's also distinctly American?
Yeah, I think you can say that, word for word. One of the things that we noticed was that there's this happy medium that a lot of people found, and they found this own balance that they found that worked for them to be Muslim and American. One great example of this is the community in Pennsylvania. There's a farm out in East Fallowfield, and over there, what they've done is they're all actually white Americans, but at the same time they'll say Assalamu alaikum, and they'll do a lot of things that people would call generally Islamically culturally, but it's great, and they've really found that great balance for them to still be American, white, in a lot of their own cultural practices, but at the same time being Muslim. So that was fantastic.
That must have also been a great experience, Aman, to be able to share your faith across religious boundaries, across socioeconomic barriers, that here was something that actually unites people when so much of the discussion is about what divides people.
Absolutely, and Ramadan is a month about bringing people together, and it's amazing how much you can bring people together when there's a plate of fruit in front of you. Nobody asks who your name is, where you come from, that kind of thing in a hostile way. People are there very welcoming. Every mosque we've been to, and we brought friends from local communities, and even non-Muslims have come with us. We just had a non-Muslim with us yesterday, and just how welcoming every community is, because that's what the Ramadan spirit is about. It's about bringing people together in this blessed month.
Yeah.
I hear you about bringing people together, but we also need to address this, Bassem. I'll put this question to you. We also know there's been a lot of reporting in recent times about people, particularly coming out of the West, out of America, young Muslims who are still being attracted to extremism, extremist forms of Islam. Did you come across that, and how are these communities dealing with that challenge?
I don't think we've come across that. I think there's a very small amount. I mean, like, even if it's 1%, it would be too much. To come across that, I think, in America, it just doesn't happen that much. But a lot of things that we do see the community doing is creating after-school activities. This is one place, United Muslim Masjid in Philadelphia. They have a lot of great programs for the kids. Another place, Masjid Muhammad, which is in Washington, D.C. What they've done is they're located in a low-income neighborhood, and there are a lot of housing projects around them. So they've done a lot of after-school programs. There's basketball camp. There's just programs for the youth, like a Boy Scout deal.
Right. A lot of emphasis is also placed on hostility between Muslims and non-Muslims. And for example, a community like in Memphis, Tennessee, the Memphis Islamic Center was getting ready to build a mosque, and some local people protested and didn't want it being built. And it was actually the evangelical Christian church that came out and decided to support the Muslims. They put up big signs saying, "We support this mosque." And it's amazing because you hear all these things about all this animosity and things like that, and you see things like Memphis where there's so much support and love among the interfaith community.
And that leads me to this question I was going to ask you. This happens at a time when there is debate about the so-called Ground Zero Mosque in New York. How has this experience affected the way that you see that issue, which is being described and reported as being one that's very heated and very divisive?
As a matter of fact, we actually prayed inside the mosque, and I remember going inside this space, I expected to feel transformed. Some kind of tingly sensation feeling. I didn't know what I was expected to feel, but this was the place of all this lightning rod of controversy. I was expecting to feel something, and as I'm in my prayer, I just realized I'm just in a mosque. It just felt like every other mosque that I've ever been to, and I didn't feel anything different as opposed to praying anywhere else. And it was just about being among my Muslim brothers and sisters. And I think all the political strife back and forth, that's left at the door. Yeah. And it's really a place of worship where people come together to believe in the Islam that they believe in.